Welcome to another week in motorsport. I'm joined by our features editor Rob Widdows again, so thank you very much. We're going to be talking about the Spanish Grand Prix, but after that I'm going to be posing some of your questions to Rob, and we've got some absolute crackers, so stay tuned. So Rob, before we start talking about the Spanish Grand Prix, we've got lots to say about that.
Yep.
But I'm going to ask you about a quick reader event that Motorsport's doing. It's called the Senna Evening. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a screening of the film, and you're hosting it. So do tell what's happening on June the 6th.
Yeah, I think this is going to be good, especially for those of you who live in England and or near London. We are having an exclusive private motorsport magazine viewing of the new film about Ayrton Senna, which only premieres in Britain 2 days before our showing, in fact. It's at the Everyman Theatre in Belsize Park in London. But perhaps more importantly, after the film, we will have Joe Ramirez with us and Nigel Roebuck, and I will be hosting a forum with Joe Ramirez and Nigel and Manish Pandey, who made the film. And we'll be talking in particular to Joe Ramirez about his views of the film and his memories of being at McLaren when he was the team coordinator with Senna and Prost. Yeah. So there's no one better than Joe to talk about it. It
should be a great evening. So I'd been talking to the production team. We only got 15 tickets left, so do call us on 0207 349 8472. I feel as I'm doing sort of pay-per-view TV at the moment. Anyway, so let's
if only it was.
Yeah. Let's get to the racing. The Spanish Grand Prix. I did a Grand Prix report on Sunday afternoon after the race, and I said, "What a fantastic race!" Yeah. And I thought it was brilliant. Yeah. And I suppose the beauty of the internet, everyone disagreed. Was it not a good race? Am I missing something here?
I don't know if you're missing something, but I didn't think it was a good race. It didn't grip me, I got to say. I've never really enjoyed the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona. Barcelona is a fantastic place to go. I love it. But I've never been keen on that circuit. And in fact, I thought Sunday's race underlined just what are the problems with this Grand Prix circuit. And I did hear that they are going to make some changes to it for next year. And I hope they do. And I'll just briefly explain why I say this. In fact, I made some notes after the race.
Rob, you're almost getting too keen,
yes.
Right?
And two things particularly interested me. One is the corner that leads onto the straight. It's called Turn 16, which is a horrible name for it, but anyway. Used to be a fantastic, quick corner which flung the cars out onto that wonderful long straight there. But now they've put this stupid, ridiculous chicane in before the corner. So the cars come crawling, creeping out of this chicane, hopping over the curbs, and then it's flat out into the corner, through the corner and down the straight. Now, this meant to me that DRS was never going to work there, ever, in a million years, because you can't get close to somebody through and out of the corner. You can only get close to them down the straight. When, as we saw during the race, not even Hamilton could get close enough to Vettel to pass him. I never thought he'd pass him in a million years, actually.
I mean, personally, I thought it was a great race because we didn't know who was going to win until the final lap. I mean, thinking back to last Spanish Grand Prix, I mean, how many of those can you say until the final lap did we not know who was going to win?
Okay, the 2011 Grand Prix at Barcelona was more exciting than we've seen for many, many years at that circuit. Yes, it was, I agree. But only because of all these weird and wonderful new rules. Now, let me just refer to my notes here, and owing to my age, I have to put my glasses on. But let us consider that Nick Heidfeld in the Lotus Renault qualified 24th. Well, he didn't. I mean, he didn't take part in qualifying because the car caught fire. But anyway, he started 24th on the grid, and he finished in 8th place. His teammate Petrov qualified 6th and finished in 11th place. Now, this tells you everything you want to know about 2011 Grand Prix racing, in my view. It's a lottery. It's a tyre lottery, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there is a certain aspect to that. But I think, if we look at this season, the best drivers and the best cars still come out on top. You know,
Yes.
it's if you're on a midfield team, if you start at the back of the
Yes.
grid, you're never going to make it to the
Yes.
podium.
Yes.
And I think that's quite an important thing here, which I think some people are forgetting. They're saying, "Oh, well, there's no point in qualifying. There's no point in doing anything." Yes, there's less emphasis on qualifying now, which is I don't like personally, because qualifying was sometimes the most exciting part of a Grand Prix weekend. But now we've got overtaking in races and things like that. Then it doesn't carry so much weight, but it's still important. It's got to be.
Yeah, let me clarify something before everybody thinks it's all doom and gloom from my corner, which it's not, because I love Grand Prix racing. I just want to make the point, though, that there's something not quite right, which is understandable because we've got so many new things this year and they do need to settle down. But there is a factor with the way the tyres are being used, and particularly this was the case in Barcelona because Pirelli brought a longer lasting tyre.
Well, a harder tyre that didn't really work according to drivers.
Well, that's right. So all I'm saying is, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's all awful, but I didn't think yesterday's race was particularly gripping. I'm sorry about that. I'm sure it will be in Monte Carlo.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a great race. I mean,
Fine.
I was on the edge of my seat and I gave up trying to take notes for the Grand Prix report.
Fine.
And I was just cheering away. So
Fine,
not that
you-
I should admit that on this video.
No,
but
but you must admit the Lotus Renault situation is very weird, isn't it?
oh yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
And that's I think something that's going to have to be looked at with qualifying. Anyway, let's move on. Yesterday we saw two drivers rise above the rest of the field as far as I could see. I mean, Vettel and Hamilton were streaks ahead of their teammates. I mean, obviously Jensen got caught up and Webber got caught behind Alonso, but they are at the top of their game, aren't they? It's great to watch.
Yeah, it's great to watch. I mean, Sebastian Vettel is really on. I mean, he's on cloud nine. This guy, isn't he? He doesn't even look like he's going to make a mistake. He probably will now, won't he? But anyway, he really he's great to watch at the moment, isn't he? But as Fernando Alonso said before the race, and he's spot on as usual, is that look, you've got to have the best car to do that job. You have. I mean, Alonso is a great racing driver, but the Ferrari's too slow. In fact, Ferrari've got serious work to do, haven't they? I mean, I really thought that they were quicker than they appeared to be in Barcelona. I thought that was very, very disappointing.
Do you think Alonso's slightly regretting his contract until the end of 2016 all of a sudden?
I doubt it, because it's worth $150 million, which is not a bad payday. And secondly, I thought the most interesting thing to me about Alonso signing for 5 years, my immediate thought was, oh dear, no more great drivers at Ferrari for 5 years then.
Right, let's move on with Ferrari to Woking. The McLaren seems to have closed the gap, certainly on race pace anyway, to the Ferrari. I'm sorry, to the Red Bull. Is this the change in the tides that we've been looking for this season, or was it a one-off? I mean, the Spanish Grand Prix is, well, historically a place where the best cars go very, very well because it's a high downforce circuit, and we saw it in the middle sector. Vettel pulled away from Hamilton every lap. But surely when we get to Monaco, Hamilton's going to be right there, if not ahead of the Red Bull, if the situation stays the same.
Well, let's take two parts there. The first part is, are we seeing McLaren closing the gap? Yeah, I think we are. It's a bit too soon to say. Don't think you can judge that on one race. But they are working incredibly hard, and they're doing a better job than Ferrari. I mean, McLaren's a fantastic outfit, If anybody's going to catch Red Bull, it probably will be them. Yeah. They've got some great people in the engineering and the aero departments at McLaren. And yes, I mean, it looks like they really are making progress, doesn't it? In fact, by the end of the Spanish Grand Prix, you'd have to say, really, that the McLaren looked like the quicker car. I mean, forget the fact that he couldn't overtake. We've already discussed why he couldn't overtake. Monaco was the second part of the question. Well, I mean, it's a lottery, Ed.
Some readers' questions. I haven't actually shown you any of these yet, so be prepared. This one's from Crazy Taxi, of all people, on Twitter. Rob, whatever happened to the high-profile sackings from days of yore? Why do Massa and Schumacher still have jobs?
Well, Crazy Taxi is good. It's a good question. It's a weird name, but good question. Why? Well, let's take the two cases that you ask about. Felipe Massa. What will they achieve by sacking Felipe Massa? by which I mean, who else will they get to come along and be number 2 to Fernando Alonso at Ferrari? Well, you could say just about anybody, yes. But is Massa doing that bad a job? I mean, he didn't do a good job in Barcelona. Okay, he didn't. And he isn't the driver he was, in my opinion. I don't know why. I don't know if it's to do with the accident in Hungary or not. But to me, he's not the driver he was. Let's take Schumacher, and I will answer the question properly
we'll get there
in
eventually.
half a minute. Now, why would Mercedes-Benz want to sack Michael Schumacher right now? They've invested millions and millions of euros or dollars or something in this man. They are getting the most incredible publicity out of it, okay? It's just a shame that the car isn't going very well. If I was Mercedes-Benz, I'd be a damn sight more worried about the performance of the car than I would be about the performance of Michael Schumacher, to be honest with you. I think Schumacher probably will retire again at the end of this season. That would be my feeling. But to sack him now, I mean, come on. I mean, again, who will they take? You could say Paul di Resta, but wait a minute. Paul di Resta's done 5 Grand Prix. You know, I mean, how good is Paul di Resta? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
Is he a superstar?
Well, he certainly looks good, I have to say.
So the answer to the question is why don't we see the high-profile sackings? Well, contracts are tied up tighter than ever before these days. The whole place is surrounded by lawyers. And just to give you one quick example, if Ferrari were to ask Felipe Massa to step down, they're going to have to pay him a very great deal of money, for one thing. And maybe, I don't know. I guess these are the reasons why we don't. But did we see so many high-profile sackings in the past? Did we?
No,
I'm trying to think. I mean, Crazy Taxi will probably be shouting at the screen. Well, yeah. What about? But I'm just trying to think of drivers.
Certainly not in recent years.
Who've literally been fired mid-season. It hasn't happened that often, actually. And I reckon that for Massa and Schumacher to come back to those two, if they were coming in behind the Lotuses, yeah, you'd see a high-profile sacking there, I think.
Let's move on. Another one via Twitter from Sybil Pop, another wonderful name. What are Rob's opinions on the green runoff strips at Barcelona and other tracks?
Yes, well, I have a strong opinion here.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Was it Sybil Pop?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. What on earth are they? What's this about?
It's just making the track wider, isn't it?
Wait a minute. Let's take turn 3, as it's called. I wish these corners had nice names, like they do at Silverstone and Monza in places, but anyway, or Spa. Turn 3, very quick, right-hander. Used to be a very ballsy corner, that. Very ballsy. I mean, to take that really quick, because if you'd gone off there, you'd have hit something, no question, and you'd have hit it hard. Now they're using the whatever this stuff is. It looks like
it's just green painted
Green
tarmac.
paint. Okay. I don't. Okay, I haven't got to drive the car. Fine. But as a fan, a spectator, and someone who's watched it all his life, not for me. No, I don't like it.
Rob, thank you once again for joining me today, coming all the way from the South Coast. Everyone, thank you very much for watching once again. We'll be back next week for another week in motorsport.